Yahweh, Rapha, Elohim, Shaddai, Jireh, Adonai is manifesting now. If we call him, he will manifest himself. If we worship, he will manifest himself. If we seek him, he will manifest himself. If we worship, he will manifest himself. If we seek him, he will manifest himself. If we worship, he will manifest himself. Yahweh will manifest himself. Jireh will manifest himself. Shaddai will manifest himself. And Yahweh will manifest himself. Shaddai will manifest himself. Jireh will manifest himself. Get Roseate, God's people. What's the shade of your Sharon rose today? Because I don't know about you, but my rose is in full blossoms. My rose is just blossoming. Now say this to somebody in your sphere, in the world around you. What's the shade of your Sharon rose today? Because it brings you into the consciousness of the state of the Sharon rose, our Lord Jesus Christ manifesting himself as the Sharon rose in your life. So what's the shade of the Sharon rose today? Of your Sharon rose today? I don't know about you, but my rose is in full blossoms. My rose is just blossoming. Welcome to PEFI, the forum where the rose of Sharon makes us into the blazing celestial bride of Christ. Become a blazing celestial bride. Experience the glories of the bridegroom. Oh, glory, hallelujah. I am and always will be your darling hostess, Reverend Remi Waynes Mccoy Odutola, fondly called Mommy, LDC PhD, fondly called Mommy. And today I intend to present to you a kind of progress report, a kind of project so far, progress report on a particular field under my theological career, my theological work. And that part is, most people have seen my DP saying my profile on YouTube, on WhatsApp, on Instagram, even Facebook saying motivational strategist, career coach, life coach, counsel, speaker, motivational speaker, and seer. But most people, don't understand what it means when I say motivational strategist. So today I'm just going to kind of introduce us in this lecture, the general public, to what it means and where I have been, who I've worked with, what I've done, and the things we have done so far. And as some people say, people don't know what you do. Why don't you run some advertorial? Why don't you run something, billboards, do something, scroll adverts, do something. Let them know you are a motivational strategist, political motivational strategist, economic motivational strategist, life coach, career coach, counsel. And this is just one of those things we will be doing moving forward to create public enlightenment and sensitize the public on what we have and been doing, and we still, contribute to in terms of nation building, in terms of being in statesmanship. Oh, glory, hallelujah. So it promises to be a wonderful section in his presence today. And this still is Presentable Earth Forum International, which is a forum of kings and divas, gospel, media, and entertainment company. Um, this forum and this company was bettered, from the mandate and the vision God has given to me. And I've been running, PEFI, the forum. It has several forum under it. We have the Infrawatch, which is the International Forum for the Rights of African Women and Children. We started off with Infrawatch in 2002 in Abuja, and most of you have heard the stories of how I, worked with my um, music mentor, that is the person of Reverend Chris Okotie, and how, um, I was in a relationship. But most people haven't heard about how I worked with him as a political strategist. So, well, in 2002, I was in his Fresh Democratic Party, and even in 2011, I was a delegate, a state delegate in Fresh Democratic Party, and we were in charge of working to see, because I work closely with him because of my relationship with him. We were in charge of creating the what you call the launch, there was a financial launch for his campaigns, and we had to strategize for that. And if you want details on that, you have to get in contact with me, and all my contact details on this platform, this TV channel. And so you can get in touch with me if you want official details of that. And then moving from there, we went to Abuja. I was based in Abuja, and then I was still running. I had already flagged off Infrawatch, which is the International Forum for Rights of African Women and Children, and I had to come to Lagos to do that strategy, the job of the strategist consult with Reverend Chris Okotie at that point in time. And then I went back to Abuja and I continued with Infrawatch. Infrawatch, we worked with the late former First Lady, Her Excellency Stella Obasanjo, who ran Child Care Trust. Infrawatch was like, a baby initiative under her, and she was like a very good matron, giving us financial support, giving us um, um, resources, human resources, giving us financial support, showing us around the Aso Rock. That was how I got my connections into Aso Rock, and I've been there working with the before she died. We worked on that. She supported Infrawatch through Child Care Trust, and then when she died, I went through the special advisor on special interest groups to the vice president, His Excellency Vice President Atiku Abubakar at the time when he was vice president under Obasanjo, and then through his special advisors and through his CSOs, we wrote proposals to his office, and you know we just kept working, as human resource facilitator, as because at that point we had resource to work on, namely the girl child rights, the Beijing Convention of the girl child's right, and that's at that point was the go-to for most. As the name implies, we are Infrawatch, we are International Forum for Rights of African Women and Children. So the go-to was for the Beijing child rights, and that was trending, and that was something to talk about at that point. And we worked so much with all of those people, and we kept on facilitating conferences, facilitating um, workshops, facilitating, and then I worked. I had to go to the National Assembly. Wabara was the Senate president. I was very close to his PA at that point in time, and we just kept, agitating for the girl child rights and facilitating human resources for legislative reforms, as a reformer, contributing to nation building as a reformer, and all that kept going on at that point in time. All that kept going on at that point in time. I remember clearly um, when it was time to for the rerun for the second tenure elections of President Obasanjo, former President Obasanjo at that time. We had to, strategize because I was just, this NGO and always in the PDP head office in Wuse, and always being there, strategizing. We had the responsibility to sensitize the public. I would always go out on public enlightenment campaigns. We would sensitize the public. We would create enlightenment on the issues, and we fostered a kind of parliament, people's parliament, if you like, if you call it, if you want to call it the people's parliament, where we'll take the policies and the government was making at the point in time, and take the opinion on the streets. We just organize opinion polls. You go to tabloids, you find a sort of street gang, opinion polls, street gang standing there from zone to zone. You sensitize, you enlighten, you engage the public, and then you distribute literature, for enlightenment purposes, and all the while pushing down the government strategies, the government policies, and then creating, a sort of public parliament and meeting ground for policies and opinion, you know. So we were like the peacemaker of the nation at that point. And then when it was time for the former president Goodluck Jonathan to first he was promoted, and then secondly he had to carry out his own elections to be president. Remember, his Castina state delegate came to me, and I also was working as a therapist then. And then after he had his therapy done, we talked about his, the strategies for all the strategies for political strategies for President Goodluck Jonathan. So he was a possibility. Goodluck Jonathan was able to consult with the Rev.Mccoy Strategist consult by his delegate. So sometimes, or most times, we don't have to see the man directly. We don't have to see the president himself. We don't have to see the first lady herself. We don't have to talk directly with them. Most of these things, their campaign office directors, their delegates, their state delegates for their, who will represent them in the primaries, their special advisors, their CSOs, all of these people are good enough. In the case of the Senate president, his PA, these people are good enough to sit with and strategize and discuss, offering human resources, valuable human resources that is tangible for nation building, is tangible, they present this to their principal, and that will go on to be used for nation building and for political campaigns, for winning elections, and the like. And that's for the Rev McCoy Motivational Strategist Consult. But talking about infra, we keep doing this thing interchangeably. Where you have Infrawatch, you have the Rev McCoy Consult. You know, most issues that will bring on Infrawatch would definitely go on to bring on the Rev McCoy Consult. And so Infrawatch, and then that reminds me, I remember clearly that when we started with Infrawatch, we started agitating for women executive representation. We agitated for the girl's child, but don't forget it's women and children rights forum. So we agitated for the women executive representation. We started at 20% women executive representation. That is to say, if you had 10 people, the ratio of 10 people as ministers, executive in government in this nation, as a then, just two will be women. That means 20% women were represented. Women were represented by 20% in the executive structure of this nation. They're fighting that, okay, more of women as deputy governors, more women in the Senate, more women in ministerial appointments, more women as directors of parastatals, and that was just 20% at the time. But at the time that Goodluck Jonathan was giving his report, we had about 40% women executive representation, and that is a far cry. That is something to celebrate. So we were able to move the women executive representation from 20% to 40%, and the goal is to get to at least 50-50. If there are 5 men as executives in the nation, there should be 5 women. After all, what a man can do, a woman can do better. And that came on the heels of former President Johnson Sirleaf being the president of Liberia. When that happened, that gave the women a kind of a voice, the African women a voice, So the agitations increased, and then African women were able to speak up for themselves. You talking AU summits, you facilitate people who talk in AU summits, you facilitate people who talk in ECOWAS. We just kept on contributing to the human resources, facilitating the intellectual content, the human resources in nation building. And then Infrawatch. Oh, I'm so happy about Infrawatch. Infrawatch, we've had big patrons. I'll never forget, and I can never, though without mentioning the contributions of our late patron, the immediate younger brother of the Sultan of Sokoto, His Excellency or His Eminence, Senator Aliyu Abubakar. He was of very much support, of immense contribution to the success of Infrawatch. I remember clearly when we introduced Infrawatch to him, he told us at that point that the women would still, the northern women, they could not be developed, they could not be civilized. They still had this hijab puda kind of thing on. The kind of hijab. And together we were able to effect a removal of that puda thing and then moderate hijab. There's nothing wrong in wearing a shawl, in covering up. I'm a reverend sister. I wear shawls. I can wear drapes. But the issue of the puda, the black covering that covers the face, the hands, from the head to the toes, and they can't go to work, they can't go out, they can mix with society, they cannot mix with developed society. That, by the grace of God, we were able to abolish, if I might use that word, it's just kind of phased out, and today Muslim women, Northern women, you know, Islamic women are very much a part of the corporate society, of the political society, the economy, you know, every part of society where men are effective and functional, women are also functional there. So that's, one of the testimonies, one of the foremost testimonies of Infrawatch in the nation, in nation building, you know, Nigeria, and therefore by extension Africa. Because most of these things, when we initiate them in Nigeria, because Nigeria is the big brother of Africa, it extends through, ECOWAS, through AU, to the rest of Africa. So we get a platform to extend on those organizations. Um, so people said, okay, why don't you, because most of these things, not just strategizing alone. As an activist forum, Infrawatch, we did most of, criticizing and battling the government of the day, agitating, soliciting. And when I kept on doing that, people would say, you're always fighting, but when you fight, you have to win, right? You have to fight and you have to win. And when you've been fighting and what you've been saying, um, um, develop the girl child, give us women executive representation, allow educational rights, allow rights to health, rights to education, rights to work, rights to earn a living, all the rights of the girl child and all the rights of the African woman, of the everyday African woman. When we kept on fighting, people said, okay, why don't you come to a state where you too can go into office and implement some of those rights you so much canvass and fight for? And so that would mean joining a political party here or there. So I've been in one or two like that. At first, I mentioned earlier, I was in Fresh Democratic Party, and then that didn't go too far because even Fresh didn't go too far. And then we had always been hanging around the PDP head office in Abuja. Then I got back to Lagos because we are affected by the, government said, everybody through Obasanjo's administration said, if you're not working under government, you don't have any business being in Abuja. And if you're not in the corporate sector, you don't have any business being in Abuja. And then the government used a term like, chunks and chunks. And I was like, you don't call people chunks and chunks. That got the activists reacting, the activist in me reacting. And then, but bottom line, we're not economically viable enough to continue staying in Abuja. So that was a downtime for us. We came back to Lagos. Besides, I had to stay with um, Reverend Chris Okotie in the Household of God Church because God was asking me to stay there at that particular time. You stay where God asked you to stay. Isaac stayed in the land where there was famine because God asked him to stay there. He sowed in that land and he reaped 100-fold. So I had to do that part of obedience. Or else people would popularly say, you have Jonah. Jonah going to the wrong place. He went to Tarshish instead of going to Nineveh. Things would go wrong. So people just explained it away that look, if you had problems, people when there was demolition exercise, when the Abuja master plan was being exercised and there was demolition exercise, some people survived, some people stayed there, others had to go back to their village. The popular saying, go back to your village if you're not working on the government. They brought in people to Abuja. Why are they pushing people out? It's poor urban planning to ask people to come because Abuja is scanty, Abuja is underpopulated. And then you suddenly realize, oh, now it's overpopulated, it's not well planned. There's supposed to be a master plan. And then you start demolishing all their structures and you start chasing them back and asking them to go back to their village. It was your responsibility to plan out before inviting people. Because I remember before I went to Abuja, so I had gotten word that Abuja is the people are being recruited to Abuja. All right, so Bottom line, I came back to Lagos. I heeded the call. Stay where God asks you to stay where God sends you. So in the land will be hundredfold. And I've been in that place. I stayed in that place for about 7 years, waiting for the word of direction from the Lord. My son, this is the way, walk ye in it. When you turn it to the right or you turn it to the left, walk ye in it. So I was waiting for that word of direction. And eventually, well, that was in 2007. Came back in 2007. So, and I ran the NGO and Infrawach in Abuja and Lagos from 2001 to 2007. And then I came back to Lagos. But I've been in Lagos contributing here and there in grassroots politics under the APC. And then people were like, what you have worked with presidential delegates, you have worked with presidential, the presidency, you work with presidency, you work with, the federal executive cabinet. Why are you working grassroots? I thought, well, if I'm to join politics on my own terms, without a godfather, on my own resources, I could start from grassroots, start from the CDA, start from maybe CDA, CDC, but that was on my own terms. And then people were like, right now I know people who are on federal status in APC. I won't mention names, but I'm on one-on-one contact with people who are on federal level, ministerial um, level, governorship level in APC. And so I'm not supposed to, they say I'm not supposed to be, functioning grassroots. But the point is, you register grassroots. You have to register in your constituency. You have to function from there, even if you can pick up assignments on state level, on national level, but you have to start from your constituency, and that is grassroots. So this, like I said earlier, is one of those things, those outreaches, those advertorials, those sensitization, or yeah, just send it, spreading the word. Like, hey, hello, the Remi Waynes, the Rev.Mccoy Strategist Consult is still here and we're still working. The Infrawach, the International Forum for the Rights of African Women and Children, is still here, very much alive and working. Thanks for asking, by the way. I love you too. And our lines are open. I have my office in my home in Ikorodu, and the lines are open for business, for economic strategies, for your career coaching, for your life counsel, life coach, life counseling, for political strategies, all your levels of counseling, to be a counsel to you. We're very much open. I'm a lobbyist, I'm a strategist, I'm a theologian. I do humanitarian work, do charities, and then I do teaching of the gospel as well. And I do seer. And not to forget, I'm a seer, I'm a consultant seer. A seer is a specialist prophet with a specialist prophet who always has specific word. So what a seer does is called inquiries of the Lord. In those days, in the Old Testament, you had seers work directly with the kings. So King David's seer was called Gad. The seer who ministered to Saul was the prophet and the priest Samuel, was a seer that ministered to Saul, King Saul. King David has his own, special itinerary seer called Gad. So you had other kings who worked in the visions and in the counsel of the seer, and they prospered as long as they worked in the counsel and vision of the seer. So a seer is somebody who has specific word of inquiry from the Lord. To inquire from the Lord means to find out the perfect will of God concerning any and every situation in life and of life. That is The meaning of inquiry. So a seer does inquiry. A seer is like a medium, an oracle. A medium, an oracle that gives specific word of inquiry from the Lord. So a seer does inquiry. So you are to consult the seer for inquiry of the Lord, inquiries of the perfect will of the Lord in your life. And so I have been doing that, and those who know me, they know that, and I'm not going to say much about that because of confidentiality, but those who know me know that the word of the Lord is a more sure word of prophecy, and that word has been our guiding light in seer ministry, all seer ministrations. The contact details still remain: telephone lines and WhatsApp line 081 64792816. I'll say that again: 081 64792816 and 0810 66 13 191. The email is rev.remmywaynes@gmail.com, and it's all small letters. And the Remi Waynes is REWMY, Remi Waynes, REWMY, rev.remmywaynes@gmail.com. That's still the email. So you can reach me on my email, you can reach me on my phone lines, you can reach me on WhatsApp, and you can leave comments on the videos on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and I am always on ground and available to minister to you, to consult with you, to consult with the Lord for you, to consult for you, to minister to you, to offer all the services that a theologian, that I am trained as a theologian to offer to you. And we are very much in the ministry till Christ comes. And that's, I believe, is a nutshell of the progress report and the project so far on the Rev.Mccoy Strategist Consult and Infrawach, the International Forum for the Rights of African Women and Children. God bless you all, real good, and I love you. Experience the glories of the bridegroom. Oh, glory, hallelujah.